This video explores Lesson 4.3, which we covered after Lesson 4.1, but before Lesson 4.2. This lesson was about writing linear equations in point-slope form. So we need to begin by looking at exactly what point-slope form is. By definition, point-slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1, where y sub 1 and x sub 1 are the coordinates of a point will be given, and m is still the same thing it's been since Chapter 3, our slope. We will be using sort of a fill-in-the-blank form like we've used with previous things. So we're going to get to know point slope as y minus blank equals blank times x minus blank. The blanks are pretty easy because m is always right there in front of x, and we'll just remember that the blank after x is going to be our x coordinate, and the blank after y is the y coordinate. Let's see how that works with some examples. In example 1, we're asked to write the equation of a line through the point 3, -8 with slope 5/7. Since we're given a point and a slope, we don't have to be told to use point slope, but since that's what we're given, that's what we're going to use, because we always want to make it as easy as we can. Well, point slope is y minus blank equals blank times x minus blank. Don't forget the parentheses, because that will make a big difference later on when we write it in other forms. Let's begin by plugging in the coordinates of our point, and our point, which is 3, -8. Remember, this is x, so x is 3, so we're going to put the 3 over here, and the second number is always y, so that's going to go in our blank after the y coordinate, or after the y in the original form. Now notice on this left side over here we have y minus -8, so we'll always have these two canceling, so that really becomes y plus 8 on that side. And the only thing left to do is to plug in our slope, which is 5/7. So we clean up our final answer by dropping the blanks and dealing with any minus negatives and things like that that turn up. And that's all for example 1. For example 2, we're given an equation in point-slope form. So we'll do like we did for slope-intercept, where we extract the information that the form gives us, and we see that we have a slope always in front of x of -2/3, and then whatever's being subtracted from the y is the y coordinate of our point, so that goes in the second spot. But notice that the minus tells us that we're going to have a positive number, but when we see a plus, we just know that that is going to be a -1 for our x coordinate, because x plus 1 could be written x minus -1. With this information, we're going to draw the picture of this line by beginning with plotting the point -1, 4. So we start at the origin, as we always do, then we take a step to the left, 1 step, and then 4 steps up, because the second number always tells you how far up to go. 1, 2, 3, 4 puts us right there. That's the coordinates of our point. Well, then we're going to take advantage of the fact that we also know our slope, and remember, slope is rise over run. So from the point we plotted, we're going to rise -2, so that means we're going to go down 2. So we've gone down 2, and now we're going to run to the right 3. So we take 3 steps, 1, 2, 3 to the right, and then we'll plot our second point, which we always need 2 points to draw a line, and that is our second point. So our line looks something like this. We're going to run right here through these 2 points, draw it off of both sides of the graph, and we've graphed our line. For our next example, we're going to go back and do one straight out of your book. This is number 20 from page 246, and this will be our third example. So we're going to look at what we do to write the equation of the graphed line. Well, clearly you could rewind and see that answer and record it, but that wouldn't tell you how to do the problem, so we're going to make sure we know how to do that. We're going to begin with Let me make my pen a little fatter here so you can see it better in the middle of all this picture. We see a point and another point, and the 2 points we're given here are 3, 1, and 1, negative 3. Well, if all we need is 1 point in the slope, we can read the slope off the graph, we can choose the point we want, and 3, 1 is friendlier because there's no negatives to mess us up. So we're going to use our picture to figure out what the slope is. So we're going to start at the left with 1, negative 3, and we're going to rise however far up we need to go to line up with the other point. So starting at that point and going up, we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So we see that our rise is positive 4, and then we're going to run 2. So there's our run, there's our rise. So our rise goes on the top, run goes on the bottom. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that's our slope. There's our point. So the equation is, this is where we're going to get the big fat marker and write it really big across this picture. Y minus our y coordinate, which is the 1 in our point, equals our slope, which is 2, times x minus our x coordinate, which was 3. And there's the equation of our line. For our final example, we're going to write the point-slope equation of the line through 2 given points. In this case, our 2 points are 6, negative 2, and 12, 1. Well, the form of the equation won't always be specified, but when it is, you can stop as soon as you get there. Point-slope is the one we're working with from the beginning, so that just means if we can fill in the blanks right, we're good to go. Remember, point-slope form is a fill in the blank is y minus blank equals blank times x minus blank. And all we have to do is plug in what we know. So let's grab a new color, green, and fill in the blanks. Well, the cool part is I can use either point, so I'm going to always go with the one that's all positive, and I'm going to remember that the first number is always x, the second number is always y. Y goes with y, and our y here is 1, so I put a 1 with the y. And the x-coordinate is the one in front, and that's 12. It goes over here with the x in the equation. Well, what goes here? Yep, m. So we have to go back to our good friend from chapter 3. M equals bar minus minus, as we call it. And we're going to start with the same point we used in our equation. Y always goes over the x that comes with it. Then we're going to go and pick up these other coordinates, and that's the only thing we'll use this point for, is to get our slope. Negative 2 is our y-coordinate, it goes on top, and its x goes underneath it. Again, we see a case where we have a minus negative, so that always just turns into a plus. 1 plus 2 is 3, 12 minus 6 is 6, and 3 6 is 1/2, which is our slope. So we put a 1/2 in front of the x, and our equation is finished. And the only thing we can do to make that any better is to write it so that it's a little prettier without the blanks. No plus or negative or any of that kind of thing to clean up here. We're simply going to rewrite it without the blanks. So we'll go back to our original blue. And our final answer is y minus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus 12. And that's all we have to do, because the direction specified, point slope. So we're finished. And that gives you an example of pretty much all of the basic problems from lesson 4.3.